This week, we're going to dive straight into the action and talk about EURUSD. So let's go. EURUSD is in an interesting position at the moment. We saw a big bullish rally last week from this area all the way up to here. And this gave us some pretty solid reactions that I think we can use towards future trades. So overall, just to give you the background of this, I am expecting EURUSD to make a large recovery later into the year, take out these previous highs and continue to the upside, because as we know and as we learned from last week's FOMC and Fed statement, the Federal Reserve in the US are going to have to slow down with their interest rates and their monetary policy as they approach the peak rate. So what does that mean? Well, we may have a couple more interest rate increases from the US, and it will benefit from being a safe haven asset. But soon we should be focusing on the idea that the market may begin to reverse, which could send EURUSD up into new highs and bring the dollar down later into the year. But for now, we do have maybe one or two or maybe even three interest rate increases to come from the US, in my opinion. I think we're probably looking at 25 basis points next month and potentially following on from there for a little bit longer as well. So this could actually provide some support to the US dollar, therefore pushing EURUSD down. Now, this is obviously not guaranteed, but this is the idea that I'm going to work with at the moment. So I have an interesting idea to hedge EURUSD, because I think if we can hedge this pair, then we can benefit from whichever direction the market wants to go. So let's break down the technicals then. So on a 4-hour perspective, we can see that EURUSD is indeed in an uptrend. And what we saw recently was price come down towards the demand zone at this level here. And from there, we really kicked off that reaction and took out these previous highs, okay? So what we can see is that we came and swept above this level and we traded into this supply zone right up here in the highs, which correlates really, really nicely with the 1.09250 key level. So plotting that on, you can see that we had a really solid reaction from that key level. And also if we go to the hourly, this is really good to see that the 1.09250 key level perfectly tucks into that hourly supply, okay? So all imbalance is now filled up to this point. And as you can see, we've then started to pull to the downside. And what we did was break some lower time frame structure just here. And then we followed through and we've actually broken some higher time frame structure, okay? So now we can pretty much see that the market is in a point of actually reversing to the downside. And if we follow this trending structure upwards, we can see from an efficiency point of view that we had this area here retested. Then we formed this demand zone here and we retested that. Then we came in here and formed this demand area, retested that. However, then we had this large demand here, which has been left untested. Okay, so this is the kind of last imbalance point within this trend. And as you can see, we do have this large inefficiency pulling towards that level. Now, as well as that, we've got this near equal low liquidity sitting around these two levels here, which could be kind of a magnet point for price to come through to trade us towards this larger demand zone. Now, following the structure on the lower time frames, you can see here the higher high, higher low, higher high. Then we had the lower low, which broke structure. Then we've pulled down and we've had a lower low, which has actually broken the next structure point as well. And at the moment, we are reacting from this small demand. However, I don't think this is going to be enough for a meaningful long-term reversal. And the reason I say that is simply because we've got this liquidity and imbalance and large major demand below, okay? Now, one other thing to note while we're here is that we do have this kind of trend line liquidity, which is currently in the process of being swept out. So what I would quite like to see is if price can pull down towards this area, then from there, we could begin looking for the possibility of buys, okay? So following the theme that I want to try and take this both ways and hedge into this market, I'm looking first of all down in this area as a possible point to buy if we get the right confirmations to do so. And then above, we've got a few clear selling points as well, okay? So first of all, the first clear selling point is going to be this supply that we've just kicked off from, the one that really started to break some of the structure here. And then of course, we've also got this kind of imbalanced extreme zone as well at the top of the move. So the way that I would like to approach EURUSD this week is if we can trade up towards one of these areas, this one or this one, I would then be interested in looking to the short side from these points. And I would like to do this with kind of a confirmation perspective as well. If we can get that shift on the lower time frames from higher highs and higher lows into lower lows and lower highs, then I would definitely like to sell EURUSD from either this area, the 1.08250, or this area up here, the 1.09 to 1.08750 area. And from these levels, we could look to bring price down. And what I would plan to do here is not to close out sells in order to get into buys, but I would look to hold these as long as possible. So any short moves I can get on from these two levels, I will be looking to take down towards the lows, okay? And if we point back to that large demand zone that we covered, so let's go to the 4-hour, you can see here that this is a very standout zone, which appears to me it could be some form of liquidity point, right? So it's very possible that the market comes through to sweep out these lows here and potentially even sweep out the lows right down there at 1.04820. Now, as I say, it's possible the recovery kicks off from where we are right now and the market doesn't have the weakness to get down there. So that's why I want to position myself into a hedging opportunity where possible, meaning if I can sell, I would like to sell from one of these points. But on the way down, what I would be doing is looking to hold the short open, but look for the hedging possibilities from primarily this level here. So if the market did give bullish confirmations here, I could buy in and hold the euro shorts. And if I do that, then I'm safely positioned in the market whichever way it wants to go. If the market continues selling after giving me a selling entry, I can profit from the short, and if I do take a confirmation buy and it fails, I will lose on the buy, but I'll be losing 1R here and running potentially, 5, 6, 7, 8 or even 10R on the way down. And on the flip side, if we get into this point and it does buy up, we can get into that, and then our short side positions will be closed out at break even, but we can profit from the upsurge on the euro and try and take this into new highs. Okay, so overall, to give you the rundown, I do like the short side at the moment, and I do think that euro could potentially come through this liquidity down here. 1.0500, 1.04820 could be some real solid areas to kind of bring euro through before we start looking for long-term reversals to take us to 1.1 and beyond. But I'm also very well aware that if I just focus on the one bias, I may miss out on the larger run. So what I should be doing is on the way down, looking for those opportunities to try and hedge into the market and take price higher so that we are positioned both ways. We're ready for profits on the short side, and we're also ready for profits on the buy side. And that is my plan for Euro USD. So immediately into the week, I do like the prospect of potentially buying euro from kind of this current area to try and pull it into some of these higher points. And from there, I will be then shifting the buyers down and seeing if we can bring things to the downside, and then focusing in the 1.06500 area for possible hedging buys against any shorts that we may be in. And that is what I'm looking for this week. Hopefully you can take some profits from this, and let's see how it all works out throughout the week. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.